Have you ever really stopped to think about the invisible systems that pretty much run our entire world? I mean, from the phone that's in your pocket to the servers that stream Netflix to your TV, it's all powered by just a handful of operating systems. So let's pull back the curtain and demystify the code that runs our modern lives. Believe it or not, when you boil it all down, there are really only about 8 major operating systems that truly matter. And, each one was built with a totally different purpose, a unique philosophy, and its own set of strengths and weaknesses. And that's the big question, isn't it? Figuring out the difference between all these isn't just for tech nerds. It's about picking the right tools for how you actually work and play and live. So we're going to break it all down. Okay, let's start where most of us probably spend a ton of our time. The desktop computer. This is the classic rivalry, the two absolute giants that have basically defined what a personal computer even is for decades. First up, you've got the undisputed king of market share, Windows. Microsoft created this thing way back in 1985, and at first it was just a simple graphical layer on top of an old system called MS-DOS. But over the years, it grew into the massive, powerful operating system that we all know today. The whole idea behind Windows is versatility. You can install it on pretty much any PC from any brand out there, which makes it the go-to for, well, almost everything, from super heavy PC gaming to just plain old office work. Now, the biggest downside? All that popularity makes it the #1 target for viruses. And come on, we've all been hit by a surprise update or the dreaded blue screen of death, right? On the other side of the ring, you've got macOS, and it's totally exclusive to Apple's hardware. Now, that tight control is actually its greatest strength. See, because Apple designs both the hardware and the software, they can create this incredibly smooth, stable, and optimized experience. And that is exactly why it's the darling of creative professionals. Think video editors using Final Cut Pro or designers, people who just need their system to work, period. No excuses. All right, let's shift gears from the desktop to the devices we carry with us everywhere we go. The big battle on the desktop is pretty much mirrored right there in our pockets, with two very different ways of thinking about the mobile experience. So first, there's Android. This is Google's open source system, and open is really the key word here. It's used by literally hundreds of brands, Samsung, Xiaomi, you name it. And what that means for you is an incredible amount of choice, from super cheap budget phones all the way up to those fancy high-end flagships. And right here, you can really see that clash in philosophy. Android is all about customization. You can change your themes, your launchers, you can tweak pretty much anything you want. But that freedom does come with a price. Updates can be really inconsistent depending on who made your phone. And that can open up security gaps. And oh yeah, so many of these phones come packed with pre-installed bloatware that you just can't get rid of. Then you've got iOS, the exclusive brain inside every iPhone and iPad. Apple's approach is the complete opposite. It's a closed, controlled ecosystem, kind of like a walled garden. You can't install apps from outside their app store, and getting files on and off can be a real pain. But what you get in return is a super secure, incredibly stable system with years of guaranteed updates and a seamless connection between all your Apple devices that, honestly, nobody else has been able to match. Okay, let's step away from the big consumer systems for a minute and talk about the operating system for developers, programmers, and the real tech fanatics out there. Let's talk about Linux. Now, before we go any further, we have to understand this term open source. See, unlike Windows or macOS, the basic code of Linux is totally public. Anyone in the world can look at it, they can change it, and they can even share their own version of it. And that right there is the fundamental idea that makes Linux so radically different from everything else. And this is where things get really cool. Linux is completely 100% free. It's so lightweight that it can breathe new life into a super old computer that you thought was dead. It's also incredibly secure and stable, which is why it is the absolute backbone of the internet. It powers the servers for giants like Google, Facebook, even NASA. For anyone doing programming or cybersecurity work, it's the professional's tool of choice. But there's a reason you probably don't have it on your laptop, right? For a beginner, the learning curve is steep. A lot of tasks requiring you to type commands into a text-based terminal instead of just clicking on an icon. And while it's getting better, compatibility with major software and especially games is still a really big hurdle for the average person. All right, for our last group, let's look at the systems that are working behind the scenes. You might not use them directly, but trust me, they play a huge role in your digital life every single day.
First up is ChromeOS. That's Google's cloud-based system that you find on all those affordable Chromebooks. Its whole philosophy is about simplicity and speed. It's designed to focus on web-based tasks, so it boots up in seconds, it stays secure with automatic updates, and it's perfect for students or anyone who basically lives in their web browser. The big trade-off? Its offline abilities are pretty limited, and it just can't run that heavy-duty professional software.
Now let's go way back in time to one of the most influential systems ever created, Unix. You're not going to find this on your home computer, but it's the invisible workhorse for huge corporations, banks, and big research centers. It was built from the ground up to be insanely stable and to process enormous amounts of data. Think about the crazy calculations you need for something like weather forecasting. That rock-solid reliability is why it's still so essential today, even if it comes with a pretty hefty price tag.
And this might be the biggest surprise of all. BSD is a family of operating systems that's based on Unix. And while you've probably never heard of it, I can almost guarantee you've used it. Why? Because it's the core operating system that powers the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. It's also used by Netflix to help deliver all that streaming content to your screen efficiently. Its stability and efficiency are just perfect for these huge, high-demand jobs. So, after looking at all 8 of these systems, from your desk to the data center, how do we make sense of it all? Let's try and bring it all together.
This table really sums it all up nicely. There is no single best operating system. It really is all about using the right tool for the right job. If you're a serious PC gamer who needs maximum compatibility, you want Windows. If you're a video editor who's deep in the Apple ecosystem and you value stability above all else, macOS is your answer. Want to customize your phone and have a ton of hardware options? Go with Android. For sheer simplicity and security, iOS is hard to beat. And for programmers or anyone trying to save an old PC, Linux is an amazing, powerful, and free option.
You see, each one of these systems represents a choice, a different vision for how we interact with technology. But as more and more of what we do moves to the cloud, and as AI gets baked into every part of our lives, it leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. Are these the systems that are going to define our future? Or is the entire idea of a traditional operating system about to change forever?